anyway, but do you want to just give us like a brief, here's what Crista Hogan does with her spare time?
Sure. I'm the director of the Springfield Metropolitan Bar in Southwest Missouri, and I have been for 20 years. And we also have a foundation, and I really love my job. And here comes my cat. Sorry. It's catnip.
So you're currently local bar director, filling Kevin Ryan's term and our ABA delegate, correct?
Yes.
All right.
I am. And I have a tendency to bid against myself, but I feel like the NABE board is a better fit for me. So if I was selected and elected, nominated and elected, I would probably suggest that they find somebody to fill the ABA post, the delegate post. Yeah.
Sure. So what do you want to do that you haven't done
in my life?
In NABE?
Well, I don't know. I've been involved in so many different kinds of philanthropic or civic organizations. Kind of, I've always said that being president of the junior league prepared me better for this job than law school. That's a huge deal, and I was pretty young. I did that 20 years ago. And when people ask me to be on their boards, after my husband Ted died, a lot of people want to be on their boards because we gave them money, for some of the memorial contributions went to Ozark Greenways or here or there. And I always lead with, I will consider it, but I can't fundraise for you because of my job. It's not a policy, it's something I make up, but it's true because, if I'm going to ask for money, I ask people for money as part of my job. And if I ask them for something else, it confuses the message and it makes me less effective. And so that has taken care of a lot of my extracurriculars, because they're like, okay, never mind. And there's been a few exceptions where they're like, okay, and I'm really quick to get off of things. I guess what I'm saying is unless it's bar related, I don't add stuff on really. But if it's not a fit, I don't, after 6 months, I'll say, this isn't a good fit. You need to find somebody else. So as I don't have a specific plan or ambition. Honestly, I'm really unambitious in a lot of ways. I just want to do more for my bar and more, and more exciting things. And, it's a great platform to really make a difference. And so I don't have any sort of deliberate goals, but I'm enjoying the board. And I feel like, anything I do, it really kind of has to both benefit me and my job. So that, therefore it makes sense for the bar to let me kind of do this. And it has to be something where I can be of use. I'll tell you, the thing I really enjoyed was programs committee, because that's just work. and I'm good at that, so does that answer your question?
Yep, it does. It does. Dennis, do you have anything that you'd like to add, questions to ask?
Yeah, I'm just going to steal from one of Barry's last ones about what do you feel like you can bring to the NABE board that maybe other people can't?
Well, humor. I like to crack the joke. I like to get the laugh. I think that I bring a straightforwardness and I'd say a deference, but an informality. I just cut to it. And it's not, I don't know if it's because I've been at this so long or if it's just kind of my DNA, probably a little bit of both. But also, I am the director of a really dynamic small bar. We do a ton with the budget that we have, and it's just me and my assistant and my cat. And we do a lot, and there's absolutely no time to waste, And so the one thing that I'm getting accustomed to is, or that I'm observing is, there's a lot more, it's not bureaucracy, but a lot more words. For example, Julie provided these homework, the report and then the recommendations. And I'm like, we really don't even need this. We need this because this gets right to it. I mean, that's the kind of person that I am. That's the perspective I bring is how do you get this to as few words as possible. And, when I was kind of preparing to talk to you all, I looked up because I would be working with a board led by Ellen and then a board led by Kevin. And I kind of knew a little bit about the Monroe County Bar, but I wanted to know just a little bit more about that to answer kind of your question, Dennis, what could I bring? And I found their strategic plan and it's like a page. And I think I haven't really studied this yet, but I thought, wow, that's something, that's really cool. That's a good model. So brevity, I'm answering this like a simple question with lots of words and saying that I like brevity. So sorry about that.
No, that's good. Thank you. Your cat's beautiful.
Thanks.
Her cat entertains during the board meetings too. So Liz, would you have anything that you'd like to add or questions to ask?
So Kristen, you've been around NABE, you've experienced it in lots of different ways over the years. Give us your thoughts on the future direction. What are we doing well that we should keep working at? And what are some areas where we could improve from your perspective?
Well, I think that NABE, I do have a comparatively really small bar, but I think all of this is scalable up and down, and that's what I think is kind of magical about it. And I think that I'd like to see NABE not get bogged down in the minutia and to stay kind of alert and responsive as to what we really do. I think that this year NABE's done great. And I think that like just those town halls to be able to compare. And I think that's emblematic of what NABE kind of does best is we convene the right people on the right issues at the right time. So I'd like to see NABE be responsive and flexible. Is that?
Yes, thank you.
Barry?
Unmute, okay. Yeah, I guess I would just follow up maybe a little on this question and as more and more folks like you get the vaccinations and we move out of the pandemic, we're moving into a different world. And that goes for the bar associations as well as NABE. How do you see that shaping up and how would you approach that?
Well, honestly, I think that something that I'm proud of is that we were very quick to shut down. Basically a year ago today, Julie called me like at 11:55 while I was finishing packing. And I answered with, this is not good. This is a bad sign. This means I'm gonna not be needing to pack. And I was devastated because I was so excited about that chief staff executive. I'm usually a little bit of a procrastinator, flying a bit by the seat of my pants, but that was locked and loaded and it didn't happen. And yet I took care of my grief with keeping really busy, just using that found time of those days, shutting everything down in my bar and waiting. And I think that to the degree possible, for the next 6 months, we've got to be fluid and just wait because things are changing back as fast as they changed to begin with, and my husband's on city council and I was just watching his meeting just before I hopped on here. And and we're opening back up pretty quickly. I mean, we're not Texas, but we're, no offense to anybody who loves Texas, but they have a plan. And so, so that's the thing. I mean, it's really uncomfortable for me because after 20 years, I mean, part of the cool part is like, I got this down and I like have it all planned and advance like a year in advance. And that way, I can kind of relax, and I haven't been able to relax. I've had to stay kind of on top of it. So I think for the foreseeable future, we're going to be best off deferring as many decisions as late as possible as we can. So that's kind of where I'm at on that.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Oh, I got it. So was that a yes or no answer? Can I mention something before I forget? I think that somebody needs to look at the bylaws, because I don't think that the bylaws say the board terms. It says the officer terms, but somebody needs to look at that. It's in this leadership position description, but I don't think it's in the bylaws. So somebody needs to check and see if I'm wrong about that.
Yeah, I emailed Ellen about that about a month ago.
Oh,
There's
okay.
like 2 or 3 things in there, or are actually 2 or 3 things that are not in there
Yeah.
that there's got to be clarity on. I was
Well,
actually just telling them that when we got on that this is only the second time the nominating committee has functioned. So there's some things on nominating that need to be clarified as well. And
well, it makes sense once you've kind of done an overhaul, but there's a few things that get left out. But I was digging around to figure that out, because I've been, I was appointed like in May. And so I was trying to figure out how the unexpired terms and all that works. So that's why I was digging for it. So
yeah, because you're finishing Kevin's term through June 30th of this year, and then yours starts back up. But originally, when I got on the board, the local directors were staggered just then because they hadn't been before. And so now that state, local, and at large each are staggered, it's just wonky. So, and then the stuff about you have to have been on the board within the last 5 years in order to run for president, but then that rotates. And so there's a lot of things in there that need to be clarified. So what I know, because I know you, I know that programming is your passion. And in my opinion, the programming that you have historically done for the mid-year and the annual has been the most creative programming that we've had, because you're a creative person. In what way would you bring your creativity to the next 2 years? What would you have us do? What would you want to do?
Well, I don't know, because I haven't figured it out entirely yet. I mean, I think that partly because our meetings have all been by Zoom, which is a great option. But I do feel like it's been a little bit harder to get the vibe of it. I think kind of one of the things I do here is I have kind of authentic relationships with people who are really good at what they do. For example, Farrah Fight at the Missouri Bar, who I adore, and is really good at what she does. And it's like finding resource people. I mean, honestly, it's tiresome to me to be involved in things that take 18 months. I just don't have it in me to have a time frame like that, And so to the degree possible, I would want to use my influence and my relationships to make things happen, to go with good things and to try to make things happen in a really responsive way. And Farrah's just one example, but she's a constant go-to for me. And it's sort of like there's just a trust and you know, ability to navigate, and then it's just like, okay, let's do this. We can do this. So
Gotcha. Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate your willingness to keep sharing it with us.